When I took the night shift at the school, I thought it was easy money. Lock the doors, walk the halls, stay awake until morning. That was it. But on my first night, the PA system crackled to life. Students, please return to your classrooms. I froze because the building was empty. There were no students. There had not been for hours. Then another announcement came. Do not trust the man walking the halls. He is not staff. I was the only one in the building. At least, I thought I was. The school feels different at night. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead, flickering like they are struggling to stay alive. Every step echoes too loudly in the hallways, like someone else is following me. Just out of sight. On my desk in the security office, there was a folded paper. At first, I thought it was instructions for the job, but when I opened it, the heading made my stomach drop. Night announcements, rules of survival. Rule 1. If announcements begin after midnight, do not listen past the first sentence. Rule 2. Never respond to a voice over the intercom. Rule 3. If the bell rings after 3 a.m., cover your ears and do not move. I thought it was some sick joke left behind by the last guard. But then the PA system crackled again. Hall monitor, report to the gymnasium. I do not know what terrified me more, the fact that the announcement used my job title, or the sound of footsteps echoing from the gym. I told myself I would not listen. The rules said never listen past the first sentence. But curiosity, it got the better of me. The announcement kept repeating, hall monitor, report to the gymnasium. The third time, something changed. You are late. I froze. No one should have known I was even working tonight. I grabbed my flashlight and walked toward the gym, trying to convince myself it was just a prank. But as I reached the double doors, I heard something on the other side. Children, dozens of them, whispering. My hands shook as I pushed the door open. The gym was empty. Bleachers folded, lights off. Nothing there. But on the polished wooden floor, written in chalk, was one word. My name. I hurried back into the hallway, trying to shake it off. But the whispers did not stop. They followed me. Every hallway I walked down, I swore I heard footsteps just a few steps behind me. When I spun around, nothing. Only lockers. Only silence. Then, from the classroom at the end of the hall, I saw movement. A shadow. Small, like a student. I pushed the door open. The room was empty. Except the desks were not how I remembered them. They were all pulled forward, lined up neatly, facing the chalkboard. And on the board, in fresh white chalk, were the words, "Sit down. Class is not dismissed." The PA system crackled again. "Take your seats, eyes forward." I stumbled backward, heart racing, because I realized something horrifying. The desks were not empty anymore. Shapes were sitting in them, still, silent, watching. I ran straight back to the security office, slamming the door shut behind me. That was when I noticed the folded paper again. Only, it was not the same. There were new rules written beneath the old ones. Rule 4. Do not open classroom doors after 1 a.m. Rule 5. If you see students seated inside, do not acknowledge them. Rule 6. If the PA system calls you by name, it is already too late. My blood went cold, because they had already called me. I shoved the paper away, refusing to believe it. But then the intercom buzzed louder than before, filling the entire building with static. Attendance will now be taken. I pressed my hands over my ears, but the voice cut through anyway. Hall monitor, present. It was not just calling my title anymore. It was calling me. The hallway lights flickered again, buzzing like insects trapped in glass. I did not want to look, but something in me made me turn towards classroom 2B. The door, once locked, was now wide open. Inside, rows of desks sat neatly in place, and in those desks were students, dozens of them, their heads bent forward, hands folded perfectly on the tables, not moving, not breathing. I almost convinced myself they were mannequins, until one of them, nearest to the door, slowly lifted its head. The face was wrong, too smooth, like wax stretched thin over a skull. Its mouth opened unnaturally wide, and yet no sound came out. Instead, the intercom did the talking for it. Eyes forward. Attendance is being recorded one by one. The rest of the students began to raise their heads, their empty sockets all locking onto me. I slammed the door shut, but when I turned around, I saw another classroom door swinging open down the hall, and more students were waiting. The intercom crackled again, louder this time, every word shaking the hallway lights. Staff are not permitted to leave their post. Remain inside the building. My pulse hammered in my ears. I took a step back, then froze, because every classroom door along the hallway was opening, all at once. From each one, rows of students filed out, not running, not rushing, just walking. Their footsteps were perfectly synchronized, echoing like a drumbeat against the walls. I tried to move quietly, backing toward the stairwell, but the nearest student suddenly twitched its head in my direction, like it smelled me. Then they all turned, and the intercom screamed, "He is not where he belongs. Retrieve him." The sound nearly burst my eardrums. That was enough. I ran, shoes pounding against the floor, breath tearing through my chest. I sprinted past lockers that rattled violently as I passed. Behind me, the students moved faster now, their synchronized walk breaking into an inhuman, skittering crawl. Their hands dragged across the walls, leaving streaks of black, like tar or ink, that pulsed as if alive. I threw myself into the stairwell, slamming the door behind me, only to hear from the intercom above, "No exits, no escape. Report to detention immediately." The stairwell lights flickered, then died, plunging everything into pitch black. I pressed my back against the wall, chest heaving. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, a metallic clank. The stairwell door swung open by itself, and through the gap, the glow of red exit signs filled the dark. But instead of freedom, I saw them, the students standing in rows, blocking every path. One by one, their mouths opened too wide, jaws cracking as if bones were breaking. And from every throat came the same monotone voice, the same voice as the intercom. "You will attend detention." My knees nearly buckled. Before I could run, the floor beneath me shuddered. The concrete split apart, forming a staircase spiraling down, down into darkness. The students did not move closer. They did not need to. Their unblinking stares forced me downward, step by step. The deeper I went, the colder the air became. The sound of the intercom faded, replaced by whispers. Hundreds of whispers, all too faint to understand. At the bottom, a single door waited. Its sign read, "Detention Room." I hesitated, and then the intercom roared directly into my skull, deafening, inescapable. "Enter!" The door creaked open on its own. Inside, rows of empty desks sat in perfect silence. But in every chair, I saw faint silhouettes, not solid bodies, just shadows, writhing, struggling to get free. The walls were covered in tally marks, not carved with tools, scratched by fingernails, and the whispers grew louder. Some were begging, some were screaming, some were calling my name. I realized this was not detention. It was a prison. For every staff member before me who had broken the rules, I tried to turn back. The door I had entered from was gone. Only walls remained, scratched, bleeding, alive. The whispers stopped all at once, and then a single voice filled the room, not from the intercom, not from the shadows, from everywhere. You forgot the final rule. My throat tightened. I remembered the papers left on my desk at the start of the shift. The rules, neatly typed, except one line at the bottom. A line I had skimmed but never read. Shaking, I forced the words into my head, recalling them letter by letter. Rule number 7. Do not listen to the announcements after midnight. My heart sank. I had been listening all night. The silhouettes in the desks began to rise. They had no faces, no eyes, just empty outlines, reaching out with hands like dripping ink. Now you belong here, the voice said. Every shift, one more joins the detention hall. One more takes their seat. The intercom must be obeyed. I tried to scream, but my voice was gone. The desks shifted forward, making room for one more. A chair scraped open, waiting for me. I staggered back, but the walls pulsed, pushing me forward. The desk in front of me was not just wood anymore. It was flesh. It was breathing, and carved into the surface were the words, attendance, complete. The lights snapped off. I did not remember sitting down. But when my eyes adjusted, I was already in the chair, hands folded neatly on the desk, like I had always been there. The intercom crackled alive one last time. A cheerful, almost mocking tone. Good morning, students. Attendance has been recorded. Please remain seated until dismissal. The voice paused. Then, lower, almost like it leaned closer to the microphone. And remember, class is forever. The bell rang, not like a normal school bell. It was hollow, like something metallic dragging through an empty grave. I looked to my left. Rows of motionless students stared ahead, skin pale, jaws slack. And on my right, an empty seat, waiting for you.